LeBron James all the way in.
And here comes Simmons the other way, 3-on-2. Simmons eludes the defender and lays it in with that.
Certainly the length altered that shot. Out of the quick steps and crunches.
Play right there. Porzingis from Jennings. Throw down and a foul.
Irving, splits the defense with the dribble.
All right, guys, we're back after a little dancing over here. But we got some power rankings to talk about. Another popular segment on the Charge. Let's just go through the top 10 real quick. We got Houston Rockets at number 1, Golden State at number 2, Boston at number 3, San Antonio at number 4, Cavs at 5, Cavs at 5, Toronto at 6, Bucks at 7, Minnesota at 8, Pacers at 9. Big jump there. And Denver Nuggets, who continue to be in the top 10 for power rankings.
Even though they went 1-3 this week, it's okay.
It's all right, because the other teams went 0-3 and 0-4. All right.
There were some bad weeks for some pretty decent teams.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, 0-4 this week.
Yeah.
Philadelphia,
0-3.
0-3.
Wizards, 2-2.
Portland, 0-2. Utah, 0-3. They're not a bad team either. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert. Whew.
Heat, going back up again.
Orlando, 1-3. They're not a bad team either. I don't know, man. This is a bad week for a lot of decent teams.
Yeah, but let's just go to the top again. So we have the Houston Rockets at 1 and Golden State at 2. Do you think there should be a flip there? No.
No. Houston, number 1, easily. Golden State, number 2, easily. Honestly, if they had put Golden State at 1, I probably wouldn't be mad, but I do think Houston deserves to be number 1.
Yeah, right now.
The numbers they're putting up are just absolute insanity, you know.
And they'll have a chance because they only played 2 games last week. Now they're going to play 4 games this week.
Mm-hmm.
You got New Orleans, Charlotte, San Antonio, and Milwaukee.
Some tough games in there.
Some tough games. San Antonio should be a tough game after what happened in the playoffs last year.
Especially, I think we should intro the news segment into this.
Oh, yeah?
There should be a return.
I
believe it's going to be Kawhi's first game back. I think is the San Antonio game, if I'm...
It said Tuesday, right? Was the return?
I think they were... From what I read, it was Tuesday, but I don't think that game is on Tuesday. It might be... Because no, it's not. I heard that they were either going to start him for the Mavericks game on Tuesday, or they were just going to wait and put him in the lineup for the Houston game.
So I believe the Houston game's on.
Good old Kawhi could be back, which, I mean, if he comes
Friday,
back, if he comes back healthy, we could see honestly, you could see a Western Conference Finals. There could be a possibility of seeing those two teams there,
Mm-hmm.
The James Harden versus Kawhi show, which, Lord knows I want to watch that. That sounds incredible.
It does sound incredible, but yeah, I mean, Kawhi Leonard's coming back on Tuesday at least. This week at least. So either he's coming back Tuesday or he's coming back Friday for the Rockets game. Should be a good game. We'll see how he plays, see if he's a little bit rusty. Mm-hmm. Obviously, when you come back from a big injury and you haven't played since last year.
Yeah.
It's gonna cost you a little, not cost you, but it's gonna hamper you a little bit in terms of conditioning because you're not used to obviously you're used to it, but you're just getting back into it. Just kind of like how James Harden did it a couple years ago before he took getting fit seriously. Mm-hmm. There was that year, maybe 2 years ago, when he didn't take the game serious. He was overweight.
Was it the Dwight Howard year?
I don't think it might have been, or the year after.
Okay. When
he lost him, overweight, had to play back into shape.
Uh-huh.
But now, he's focused, he's ready to go, looking like an MVP candidate still. Should be a good matchup between those two teams, and Kawhi Leonard obviously adds something to the Spurs that they're missing, a two-way star.
People like to forget Kawhi Leonard is the top 3 player in the NBA. I 100% believe that. I don't know if you'll agree, but Kawhi, at least, I don't think you can argue top 5.
Top 5. I think he's top 5 for me.
He's top 5. He's top 3 for me, personally. I honestly would almost be tempted to put him at number 2, but I'm going to say 3 just because he needs to get back and play some games first. But Kawhi Leonard is arguably the best two-way player in the league, other than maybe LeBron. Mm-hmm. His defense is insanity. His offense, he can score from anywhere. He's incredible. I'm gonna be watching a lot of Spurs in the next couple weeks. I'm very excited. I love Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I mean, just a great 1-2 there. Let's just move down the list a little bit. The Boston Celtics at number 3, falling down from spot number 2. Probably warranted a little bit just because of how the Warriors have been playing 3-0 in their last week. Now they only have 2 games against Portland and Dallas, so they should be able to retain their kind of winning ways and probably retain the number 2 spot. Meanwhile, the Celtics have to face 4 teams. We got at Chicago, Denver, Utah, and Memphis.
Yep.
A couple tough games there, especially with Denver. Utah always gives anybody trouble.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, the player that's been playing actually really interesting to me, and that's Al Horford. He's playing like a point center role, or a center point role, which I don't think I've ever seen before.
Yeah, well, ESPN puts a pretty interesting, just a fact here for you. In the real plus minus this year, last year he was 14th as far as power forwards. Now he's second. I think he's only behind Draymond Green. So it just goes to show how great the chemistry with him and Kyrie is. But he's almost in contention as far as the Boston Celtic MVP is concerned. Really, he's so important when he's on the floor. Mm-hmm. Like he's killing it. He's opening up so much space for other players. Al Horford is killing it this year.
Yeah, Al Horford's killing it after a lot of people thought he was going to be. I mean, granted there was a big injury that happened, so
yeah,
he had to, of course, step it up in terms of being the second option. Mm-hmm. Before he got injured a couple times during the season. But, it's kind of interesting to me what I see from the Celtics. Jason Tatum playing phenomenal, 52% from 3, leading the NBA, which crazy. I don't think I would have. I would have told you that would have been crazy.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see where he's at as far as like attempted threes are concerned, because I know he shoots a few. But obviously he's not taking nearly as many as, Steph or Clay.
No.
So, I mean, it is crazy. It's a great stat for the kid, but I don't know. I do think it's just a little bit skewed. I want to make sure I'm not just making that up, though.
But other than that, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving, of course, they had a little bit issues. Jaylen Brown with the eye injury, so he had to wear the goggles. Kyrie now with the mask off. So we shouldn't see mask Kyrie anymore. We'll see regular Kyrie, and we'll see how he plays better, because I know he hates wearing the mask. So, I mean, we'll see where it goes on from there. And then, of course, we got to talk about the Cavs. Yeah. Their streak ended.
The streak is over. Good streak while it lasted.
Yeah. They're number 5 on the list. They went 3-1 during the week, and now they have to play 4 games again. We got Atlanta, Lakers, Utah, and, of course, the Wizards.
They should win all those games.
They should win all those games.
Even the Wizards game at this point shouldn't be that crazy. The Wizards are... I think the Wizards came in this season now being, what are we, a fourth of the way in, a little over a fourth of the way through? Mm-hmm. They might be the most overrated team in the league.
The Wizards?
I really do think that.
Damn.
I'm going to be a little hard on the Wizards because I think they got a lot of really good players, but... Good Lord. I feel like they have too much talent to be as, tepid on both sides of the court as they are. Like, they don't have a good excuse to not be good, and they're not that good. I don't think they're not even in the same caliber as Cleveland and Boston. Yeah. And then, honestly, I'm taking Toronto over the Wizards easy right now, too.
Yeah, right now the Wizards are underperforming. They're underachieving. That all starts with John Wall and Bradley Beal.
I mean, Bradley Beal is absolutely an animal right now. He's carrying the team. But I don't know. They have Otto Porter, who's a really good player too. Yeah. John Wall's been injured. I mean, I don't know. The excuses can only go so far, really. Because 10 games into the season, even I was saying that the Wizards struggle every year for the first 10 games of the year. especially John Wall kind of has a tough time at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. But now we're 25 games into the season. They gotta be playing better at this point in the season. You know?
Yeah.
Because they don't have the finals fatigue excuse like the Warriors and the Cavaliers. You know, they haven't really done much in the playoffs. So I got to see a lot more from those guys. Milwaukee, they're looking really good.
They're coming back again.
I'm really liking the Giannis Bledsoe combo.
It's been working. You know, a little bit of some issues at the beginning when the trade happened.
Yeah.
Chemistry things, you know, it'll work itself out, just like it did with the Heat in 2013, 2011, I should say, when they were having their chemistry issues. Mm-hmm. So we should see the same thing here. Eric Bledsoe will add a lot to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think he already really is. Like, I think their chemistry issues are kind of already starting to get hammered out. Like, I really like what I'm seeing from them. Mm-hmm. I just want to see, you know, more and more pick and roll with that team. You know, I love Giannis in Bledsoe pick and rolls, and I think that they, like, if they really get it down packed, that's unstoppable, you know? Because honestly, Giannis doesn't need it. So when you open up the option of him having that, you know, like he's going to be able to just run over people and dunk on them. But, you know, to make it easier on him in the course of the season is a good thing. Do it for the guy. He's an animal. I love it. Minnesota, Taj Gibson.
Playing really well.
They mention him in this. I'm glad they mentioned him because I was listening to, I think it was the Low Post podcast, Zach Lowe's podcast, and he was talking about Taj Gibson, how good he's been this year.
He's been really good.
So I watched a little bit of Minnesota this week and tried to keep my eye on Taj Gibson. He really is like, you know, he's one of those under the radar complete package players. Like he can do a lot of stuff. Great defender, great on offense. He's like a poor man's Kawhi. Honestly, that's what I'm calling Taj.
Poor man's Kawhi. Interesting.
I just feel like he does a lot of stuff on the court he doesn't get a lot of credit for, and he's kind of like, you know, not necessarily a super outspoken guy. Like he's not making headlines, you know, but he's done his thing for the last, you know, I feel like, what has he been like the Bulls, the era of the Bulls, maybe like 6 or 7 years, right? He's just been doing his thing for almost an entire decade. I like him.
Yeah, what's crazy to me is that his career, he's had 25 minutes a game, but now it's increased to 33 for this season.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you how much value he brings to the Timberwolves in terms of rebounding, defense, and everything like that, because he was a Tom Thibodeau guy when Tom Thibodeau was there with the Bulls, and now we're seeing it pay off here in Minnesota with him getting more minutes and just playing phenomenal.
It's working. It is working.
Number 9, the Pacers, man. We got to talk about the Pacers.
Yeah, this one is crazy. Because honestly, who thought the Pacers were going to do anything this year? Really? They probably still won't really do anything other than they'll probably have a winning record and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which is impressive. Victor Oladipo is... I really like Victor Oladipo. I liked him in college. And just like, I like the fact that he is like one of those guys where he's good enough to be traded twice, where people want him, but they don't want him at the same time.
Right.
And he like came out recently and said like, you know, essentially like that hurt his feelings, which I don't blame him, you know, because getting traded twice in, you know, 3 or 4 years, it's probably pretty tough. But like he's showing his stuff in Indiana. I think it's awesome for him, you know, because he's like, everybody said like, oh, look at how bad Indiana did on this Paul George trade, and then I mean he's easily playing better than Paul George is, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to me what motivation can do to a player, especially in this instance in terms of, because when we saw Oladipo in the summer, or like before the drastic transformation, he was not as built. Yeah. But when I saw a post online that showed that he like did a complete transformation in just like a month, and the dude put on muscle. He looked more lean. He looked more fit. And he was, I mean, as you can see, it's paying off because he's been scoring a bunch. He's been doing everything for this Indiana Pacers team to have a winning record right now. And
Yeah.
it's just crazy to me how it's become this Oladipo-led team with Miles Turner being the second option, because I really thought they were going to make Miles Turner the first option based on the fact that he is the young star. They want to build him up.
I honestly do think that was their intention the whole time until he was hurt for, 10 games or whatever, 15 games, and then Victor Oladipo was winning games for them. So, I mean, you make your own success, Victor Oladipo. And I think